Alright y'all, welcome back to another Redstone tutorial. What behind me looks a little messy, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to get redstone flying machines going, and they're really not that hard. So we're going to jump straight into it and show you kind of the basics from a horizontal one that goes up, and a sweeping one for your farms. So let's jump in. Okay, to get started, you'll notice it's really just these 3 blocks down at the bottom that we're going to use. We'll use some dirt just to help us build, but not necessary for the flying machines. So the first one on this horizontal one, we're going to take an observer, facing it that way, a sticky piston, 2 slimes, flip around, and do the exact same mortar. We'll break the dirt, and this is your horizontal one that will go that way and that way. Now I'll show you here in a minute how to start and stop it, but that is the base for pretty much anything that you want to do horizontally. Next, we're going to do one that goes up and down, a vertical one. So we're going to start with a piece of dirt, again get our observer, break that dirt, because as you can see that will trigger it. We're going to put a sticky piston, our slime's going up, come to the bottom, look up, put that observer, a sticky piston, and our slime. So you'll see it's basically the same layout, just vertical. Now again, we'll show you how this goes up and down here in a minute, but that is your vertical one. Alright, next you'll see ones that do a sweeping motion across farms, like bamboo or sugarcane. So here, this one is a little bit different because we really want it to be able to go wide. Where this is 8 blocks, we want it to be a little more small and a little more compact. So what we're going to do is start by putting a piece of dirt down, a sticky piston that's going to face us, a piece of slime, come back to the other side, have a sticky piston this way, and some slime here. Now the next part, we're going to use a piece of dirt again on top of each piston. What this is going to do is help us to get an observer facing up and an observer facing up. You can break this dirt or whatever other block you used, and that is the base. You can see that's pretty easy, and then you can kind of just put out some wings however wide your farm is going to be. So these are the base of the 3 different kinds of flying machines you'll need. Now, let's go in and show you how to get them started. Okay, now to get these going, we're going to use some obsidian like you see, an iron trapdoor, a repeater, and some redstone. These are super easy, and in fact, you can do it in a lot of different ways. But for this first one, what we're going to do is set up a version here. So what you're going to need, and the reason we're using an obsidian, is we need this to hit an immovable block. There's a bunch of them. You can go look up the list. But we'll use obsidian because that's easy. Now, that's going to block the slime side. Let's follow this line, and I'm not going to go too far, but we're going to put another one down here. Now, what's nice is if you put an iron trapdoor here, a button, this is just representing anything that you want to trigger this machine. So you could do something a lot more fancy or keep it this simple. We'll put a button here. And you'll notice that when I put this trap door on, it's immediately going to fire it because the observer is watching. So that's going to go that direction. Hit that immovable block. When you flip this, it's going to launch it right back. So that is the first way to make this one go back and forth. Now for the vertical one, you can imagine what we're going to do. Since the machine was that way, this one's not going to look much different. So you're going to want to build up with however high you want to go. Put that iron door, however you're going to trigger it. We're going to come back down here, put some obsidian below it, a button on the side, and just like what happened there, when we put this iron door in, it goes right up. We trigger this, it goes right back down. And that's how easy it is to get this to go up and down. Alright, now onto this type of flying machine that sweeps. This one's a little bit different because it's going side to side instead of up and down. And as you can see, these observers are not looking to the side like this one was. So we're going to do this one just a little bit different. So on this one, we're going to come 2 off of here, put an observer that's looking at that observer, put a redstone repeater on top, set it to 2 ticks, put a redstone dust here. I'm not going to finish building it out just yet because we're going to come over here. Make sure you're online with this one. We're going to build up 2, 3. Yep, build up 3. Put an observer that's facing the machine. So that's why I put a little extra there just for a second. So now that observer is facing out. Again, redstone repeater, set it on 2 ticks. And then you need to put a trapdoor coming off of that repeater. So you're gonna have something that looks like this. Now, as soon as I put this trapdoor down, you'll notice that's gonna launch. And what's cool about this one is if you have a farm, you can see it automatically sends a signal through and launches it so it just keeps going. So this will keep harvesting your farm as you want. If you need, you can take a lever, put it on here, turn the lever on, and this won't keep going. And I'm actually going to do that right now. Okay, so now that I got that lever on, you can see it's going to come back. It's not going to trap or trigger the trap door, so it's not going to keep going. Once I'm ready for it to keep going, put that down, and it's just going to go right back to harvesting. So that is how you get this one going. Perfect. So now that we can see kind of these 3 different pieces, let me show you a little bit of what you can do with them. Okay, so one thing I mentioned with this is you can actually stick all sorts of extra things on here. Like if you want it to look like some kind of an airplane, or I don't know what you're going to make it look like. But adding a few simple things, you can actually make something pretty fun. So if you wanted to make it look like an airplane, a missile, I don't know, some kind of floating floor, there's lots of things you can do there. But be careful because you can only add so many things before it won't go anymore. So luckily that worked pretty well. Let's keep going. Let's see if we can really pile some stuff on here. Oh wow, that held quite a bit. So there's only so many things that can be stuck to the slime blocks before it will stop going. So let's see if we can kind of max this out. Yeah, and there you go. You can see it doesn't work if you get too many things stuck to the slime. So just be careful when you're putting something on there, having fun. It will eventually stop working, but it's pretty cool the amount of things you can do there. Even being able to come in and maybe you want to ride in here. That's awesome. So that's kind of an example of what you can do with this simple sideways is get creative, but you can see it's pretty easy to start with. All right, now onto these vertical ones. There's actually something pretty cool we can do. And I'm going to show you by just basically using honey blocks. Let's break that one for now. Coming up with the honey right next to it, the honey here, an observer looking down. So we're basically just mimicking what's here, but putting it on the side. So you can see the thing that you have to know about this is if we would put slime next to it, they stick together and it counts as 1 unit, where this will count as 2. So you could actually make this wider, put a bigger floor on top, whatever you want to do. So that is going to help us be able to, and let me just build this up here. We're going to actually take some redstone dust and then put a button on the side. So when these get going, they're both going to go up at the wrong time. I should have built this a little bit different, but because we had one in there, they're going to fire. So we need to make sure they go up. Now we can come over here, put some kind of way for redstone to get in. Make sure that works. Yep. And now you can see this is easily going to make us some kind of elevator that we could tile in multiple directions. So it goes down, click however you want to trigger it to go up. And there you go. There's your elevator. So let's take a ride and see what it's like. Oh, I put the button on the wrong side. That's one thing you got to think about. Oh, and it's a little bouncy. So let's take it right up. Oh yeah, there we go. So that is how you can make that more useful, is by tiling it and going side to side. Maybe you're putting something on the top, or you could even readjust this upper way. You just really need to have something that triggers the observers up here. So it doesn't even need to be on this side. You could actually rotate it to the opposite side so that your inputs could be on the same side. Break that, and there you go. All right, and on this last one, there isn't too much to really say because you're using this as a sweeping edge. What you'll want to do is figure out how far out do you want to come. Now it only goes out so many blocks before it stops working. And I put a piece of glass here because depending on what your wall is here, if you have slime touching that wall, it's not going to work because it'll get stuck to the wall. So just putting a piece of glass on the end will help with that. Now I can't build this one out because we have our other machine here, but as you can see, I'll be able to put a piece of glass there, and you can either make this symmetrical, offset, however you want. Let's turn this back on. And as you can see, that's going to go as wide as you need for your farm. And if you're going super wide, just build 2 of these and make something that triggers both of them at the same time. Now, depending on what you're growing here, a thing that you can easily do is just add a daylight sensor. So anytime the daylight changes, this will trigger, it'll go off, come back, and it will just harvest the one time for you. So that is how you can simply make this a little bit longer and be able to do a bigger farm. All right, and so as you can see, these are pretty easy. You can get pretty creative once you know the base, but they're not too bad when you're just thinking about how do I get started with flying machines. So now that you kind of know the basics, let me know down in the description what you do with these or what you think you'll do with it. I'm excited to see, and please let me know what you do. But until the next tutorial, we'll talk to you soon.